Okay, welcome back to the show, Clearview Finance Show. Today we're diving into a topic that touches the heart of many families across the country, the search for dignity, independence, and a place to truly call home for adults with autism. When our guest today, Amy Shope, looked at the future for her son Dylan, she didn't see the kind of supportive, community-based housing he deserved. So she didn't just find a solution, she actually built one. As a veteran financial advisor and the founder of the nonprofit Dylan's House, Amy is on a mission to solve the housing crisis for adults with autism, one home at a time. So today, we're talking about the landlord model, the importance of supporting our professional caregivers, and how Amy transitioned from being Dylan's full-time case manager back to being just mom. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll get rolling. So, as many of us talked about, Amy, we're trying again to be as supportive, to lead as an example, to basically put our money where our mouth is. So, as you know, we're big supporters of Dylan's House, and we always encourage clients, people that are listening, to get involved, to do things, and we try to lead by example. Again, putting our money where our mouth is, right, and showing our clients. So, something that I'm so honored to have you here because it's when I learned so much about the cause, we knew we wanted to get involved. And so that's why I think, again, everybody needs to hear the story. And that's why we're having you on today. So we're going to give you the opportunity to let our listeners and let everybody know who follows us what this is really about and the person behind how this has went. Because again, it's been a special thing. You guys are special. You and Kevin are special people. So God bless you. So,
wow, I'm so appreciative. I love to talk. I love to tell the story.
Great.
And you guys, again, such good supporters. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, good. We want to use our platform. So let's go ahead. Let's get into this. So in the past you've spoken about the distinction between mom and dad's house and Dylan's house, right? So how did that simple shift in language help your family and most importantly Dylan transition to this new way of living?
Yeah, so Dylan moved out of our home when he had just turned 17. So we started that process when he was 16. And Dylan is, there's all sorts of different ways to describe it. And sometimes people are like, am I offended if I say this or that? And, Dylan is low functioning. He is not high functioning.
Okay.
He's very behavioral. He is verbal, but he does not talk like we do. I might have to ask him 10 times, what'd you do today at workshop? And he's like, I want to go to Burger King. I want to go to Burger King. So that's kind of how his
mind goes.
Yes.
There. Mm-hmm.
He can't stay focused enough to answer the question. So what he knows and understands, we don't really know. I know he's brilliant, but when he was 16 years old, all he loved and still today was his house and his family, me and my husband and our daughter. And that was just his life. And when we made that decision to transition him out, there was no way to explain it. So we really relied on his school. He went to an autism school in the Cleveland area. And they said, we're going to use a picture story to help explain this to him so he can see pictures.
Okay.
So that's when they
started.
That
was hard, right?
It was. They were taking pictures of, I had to send him pictures of the house we lived in, which I loved our house. It was like my dream house and on a cul-de-sac. And we had this literal white picket fence and it was just this beautiful house. And he left for school one Friday morning and he had visited where he was moving, which was in Camel.
And he's how old at this point?
Today, he'll be 25.
But I mean at that point.
Oh, he was 17.
17 years
17.
old. Oh, my Lord.
It was right after his 17th birthday. And, he was not a typical 17-year-old. He, he's almost like an eternal, 5-year-old. And still calls us mommy and daddy, is obsessed with his family. So he would see this picture story with pictures of our house and then pictures of Dylan's house, which is this home in Camel where 4 other men lived. It was a beautiful house. It used to house priests. It's right by a Catholic church. Mm-hmm. But they turned a basement room into basically like a studio apartment. It had a bed, kitchen table, couch. And so they would take him to visit his caregivers a few times, but he didn't understand.
Right.
And they would say, this is Dylan's house. This is where you're going to live, all enthusiastically. And he'd be looking at these pictures and he would say, I don't love Dylan's house. I love mom and dad's house. because I'm sure he knew. So one Friday morning, worst day of my life, March 2nd, he left for school. Canfield transported him, and he went to this home in Camel. And like that. There was no other way to do it. And the agency we used, which the most amazing man in the world, Jimmy Sutman from Purple Cat, Golden String Isle, he was kind of in charge of this because they were providing the care in the home. He said, Amy, you probably shouldn't visit for like a week or two because he's going to be confused. Mm-hmm. And like I couldn't call him, text him. He doesn't do that. So I went from 24/7, he didn't sleep other than when he was in school and when I was at work. All I did was like take care of him, shower him. Yes. He was not toilet trained. I mean, it's a tough topic, but it's a real topic.
Right.
I mean, he's 17.
Right.
And we had tried everything. And then all of a sudden he's just gone from my house.
I know how I feel about my kids. I mean,
I know. I lost my mind.
Yeah,
I really did.
I would.
But I probably should back up real quick and say that my husband said, Dylan was very behavioral, like I mentioned. So it was nothing on a Tuesday night after work. And we laugh about everything. So there's no, you could laugh, cry. We always tried to laugh. But, random Tuesday night, he would get upset about something and he would flip the kitchen table. I mean, he broke the kitchen table so many times. And we had this beautiful house in Canfield that we had a card table. Because
you had to.
Because we had to.
You had to adapt.
And it was embarrassing. We had holes in all the walls. You couldn't fix them fast enough. He just didn't know his strength. He's a big guy.
Right.
So we never really had people over because it's embarrassing to have people. Your house looks great. And my daughter is kind of the silent, I don't want to say victim because she's a great girl, but she never had friends over because her brother would literally just get naked, and ride his scooter through the house. And you can't have, a seventh grade girl over.
Right. Oh my goodness. I don't think people, as you're saying, right. The impact of people behind the scenes don't realize what that's like. Nobody can.
No, they don't.
Nobody can.
You really can't because, we were locked in because he would escape.
Right.
And I had this contractor who was a neighbor come over, and he was a nice guy, but a little arrogant. And I was like, I want the windows nailed shut. And he's like, what are you talking about? I want the windows so that they could never be opened because I caught him trying to climb out of the upstairs window. So we locked the windows, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but you can never open the windows when it's a nice day. We were literally locked in with a key. So Anderson would want to go play with her little friend across the street, and I'd have to let her out.
Yeah,
with
it would
key.
Be a whole.
It was a whole thing. And then Dylan would try to escape. So that's kind of how we were living, which is what led to Dylan should look into, we needed to find independent housing for him, but also for our family. Because my husband said one day, I just can't keep doing this.
No.
And we talk about this all the time. And I have a little, feisty attitude. I'm like, what do you mean you can't keep doing this? What does that mean?
Right. Meaning, come on.
What can you do?
It's my child.
This is my child. So then I guess you'll go. And we talk about it now because our marriage, it's a fact. It's hard to have a marriage when you're fighting all the time over these kind of things.
Yes.
So,
again, the background of people. No, it's not in the weeds. It's true. I think, but as a testament, right? You had to make a tough decision. Marriage, your child, your life.
Yes. Yes.
And it just became to the fact that it had to be done, right? So then internally you're like, okay, how do I make this better, right? So that would lead us to the next question. So, when did you realize that the housing solution you created for Dylan needed to become a formal nonprofit to help others, right? Help others' families. So
okay, so Dylan moved out. He lived in Camel from 2018 to 2020. And I convinced Kevin to buy Dylan a house because I didn't like where he was living. Okay. It's nobody's fault, but the options are
limited. Nothing.
And they're not great.
Right.
So we bought him a house in Cornersburg, 10 minutes from us. That was life-changing for Dylan because he had windows and a whole house, a backyard, a garden, all these things. So the phone calls and the emails endlessly from people, how'd you do that? Can you help me? And, please help me. Because all these people living exactly like we were would see things. So our daughter, Anderson, was going away to college in 22. And, I just don't sit still. I'm not that person. And really, I couldn't even with Dylan. So I said to my husband one night, don't they say all good ideas happen over drinks? We're having a couple drinks in the basement. And I said to him, what if we started a nonprofit? And he's like, what are you even talking about? What do you know about that? Well, nothing, but we'll figure it out.
Right.
And we didn't really know the mission then. We just knew like we had to help all the families living like we were living that maybe didn't know where to start. So that's kind of how Dylan's house was born officially.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, just thinking back, like, okay, I'm in the situation and the outreach, right, sort of wakes you up like, hey, I'm not the only one, right? A lot of people are going. So, again, I don't want to say our duty, but it certainly touched something that you understood what everybody else was going through. Right. As a mother, as a parent, right? I mean, just the relationship, everything. So okay. So that's how it got it. So then, okay. So you decided to buy the house and act as, so basically as Dylan's landlord, right? Rather than them putting him up, right. The alternative is traditional institutions. Would that be fair?
There's either that or so an agency that provides caregiver support, they cannot own the homes. And I don't know the detailed reason, but, they're getting a Medicare waiver to pay for the support, so they can't own the home. So they have to rely on landlords.
Okay.
And, put yourself in the shoes of a landlord. Maybe you don't want to get into that business. So you find that the homes these individuals are living in are either owned by, say, the Catholic diocese, they're owned by a landlord, and maybe not the best landlord, doesn't take care of the properties. And the houses are very limited. You find some parents like Kevin and I that own the homes.
Yep.
But then there might not be spots for anybody else. So it's a real crisis that there's nowhere for them to go. Most of them are living at home. Most of these individuals are still living at home with their parents, maybe grandparents.
Oh boy. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So when you say that, right? So what are some of the biggest hurdles and setting up that, to point the first home-like environment, we talk about sensory and things that have to be necessary. So, what was that like? I mean, how did you, sort of feel like, when you say hurdles, like, was there things you really had to go, oh my gosh, I got to think of that, or I got to do that?
I mean, for Dylan, it was more about the proximity of the house and in relation to like where I lived. I wanted to, a small house that was easy for us to maintain. And, Dylan has a lot of sensory things, but
explain, like,
so if I take him to Meijer, he loves Meijer.
Okay.
And he always,
who doesn't?
I know.
I just said that.
And he's funny. He's like, can we go to the store?
Oh.
But like once he's in there, it's overwhelming. Because it's loud, it's big. And so we get to the back of the store because he wants bagel bites and chips, because who doesn't? And we're in the back of the store, and then he doesn't want to leave.
Right.
And you would never think that he doesn't want to leave because it's very like overwhelming to him. So it might take him 30 minutes. It might take me 30 minutes to get him from the back of the store to the front. So I have to be real careful because he is 6'2" and weighs like 250.
Okay.
So I can't physically handle him. I have to bribe him, which sounds bad, but I have to.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I have to have something in my back pocket that he really wants if I get into a situation. And my husband is always like Amy. Like I took him to the Canfield Fair by myself, not to deviate, but he wanted to go to the fair.
Okay.
And nobody wanted to take him.
But again, you're still mom.
Yes. And I wanted to go.
Let's not forget that.
So I took him to the fair, and my husband's like, oh boy. I said, what's going to happen? I mean, so I kind of set the tone before we got out of the car. We're going to go to the fair. We're going to we're going to get pizza. We're going to walk around, all the things he wanted. And then I will take you to Chipotle, which is, you just saw us there, his favorite thing in the world.
Right, I love it. That's what I said. I go, boy, he's had a good day. Chipotle, and then he was going to Dunkin', right?
He was. I mean, it was a dream.
Right.
So I said, if you do a good job for mom and you listen, we'll go to Chipotle and we'll take it to mom and dad's house, which is the ultimate like dream come true for him. So he was an angel. We walked through the fair like he was like a boss.
So you've learned how to manage.
I try.
God bless you. I mean, because again, he's realizing it's not your house. So he is deciphering mom and dad's house.
And I should have mentioned, we sold the house that we lived in because he came home one time after a year for his birthday, and he thought he was moving back in. And it was the worst day of my life because he hid in his old bedroom and said, he's home. He talks in the third person a lot. And it literally killed me. And I could not live somewhere that my son could not visit. So we sold it.
Oh, you had to?
Yeah, I had to. And we bought a condo. My husband talked me into it. I wasn't
okay.
quite ready for condo living.
Tough decisions,
Yes.
but necessary.
But now he's never lived there. So he comes every Sunday and visits. He's fine when it's time to go home. He doesn't want to leave, but he doesn't throw a fit. So that has been amazing.
So emotionally, Amy, and I'm sure I'm jumping too, because I just feel like it has to go here. Each Sunday he's leaving. How many years has it been now?
Well, it was 2018, so it's our 8th year.
Okay, so 8 years having to say goodbye to your son.
I hate
now, do you feel like, in a way, like for an example, we get to a certain age and then the kids move out and they go, right? Is that how he's of this age and he's deserving to be on his own? Or is it still this, I realize I had to, do this, right? So every Sunday, that's just the way it is.
I mean, Kevin and I are really different on this because I visit Dylan a lot at his house. So I'll go see him a couple times a week. I don't go too much because he'd expect me to come every day.
Then it's
a tricky balance.
I get it.
But every time I leave his house, so 2 parts, every time I leave his house, he always says, don't go, don't go, don't go. I don't love Dylan's house. He says it all the time. Still yesterday, I don't love Dylan's house. And I have to be, as mom, parents, yes, you do. You love Dylan's house. And he watches me out the window.
No.
Until he can't see me anymore. No. And so, and Kevin will say, Amy, he's going to be 25. I'm sure Kevin's trying to help me.
Well, he is. He's making you try to internalize it. Mm-hmm.
He's like, Amy, he's going to be 25. If he was a typical 25-year-old, do you really think? And I said, but he isn't a typical 25-year-old.
Right.
And I'm his life.
Right.
So I struggle. And on Sundays when he leaves and my daughter and her boyfriend are over, and everybody wants, the big Sunday with family, and he stands in the family room and he doesn't want to leave. And he's looking at everybody, and I feel so sad. His caregiver's like taking him home, and he'll say, "I don't want to go." And
how does he
breaks
do?
my heart.
How does he do when he finally gets
and when
there
he finally
after
leaves, he's fine. He goes home. I always
so that's probably a little bit of the saving grace to know that he adjusts. I mean, he does. He adapts and adjusts, and it's become a way of life.
Yes. So sometimes I don't want them to tell me.
I don't know how you do it. I don't want to make you cry, but
no.
God bless you. This is the reason we're doing this. I've read, but again, this comes at, I'm a pretty emotional person. I'm also how much I know I love my family. So
I know.
Again, I think all right. So making me cry. All right. So you described the housing situation for adults with autism in the Mahoning Valley. I mean, I've heard you say this. I've watched you on the news, right? A crisis. What are the most common fears you hear from parents who call you looking for placement?
I mean, the number one is what's going to happen when I'm gone. Who's going to take care of my son or daughter when I'm gone?
Legally, does there have to be?
You do have to become guardian when they turn 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Dylan's guardian.
Okay.
And what we're seeing, I mean, I'm getting phone calls because, some of these individuals never had a diagnosis. So I'm getting phone calls from people in their 70s and 80s, and their children are 40, 50, and they're like, what's going to happen? And they've never lived anywhere but with their parents. So you've got that situation, which is a big issue.
Right.
And then you've got the individuals like Dylan that are just really, really challenging, that the parents are trying to make it day by day. And, they're 15, 16, 17, and they're thinking, I can't keep doing this. Like, you're getting what you would call a babysitter like I used to do. I mean, if my husband and I wanted to go have dinner on a Saturday, we had to get a babysitter for like a 16-year-old male.
Right.
And you can't just find anyone. It's not
Again,
like,
right.
you know,
It's got to be somebody that gets it.
right. And it's expensive and they're, you know, the individuals are challenging. So you're seeing a lot. We're seeing both. I mean, the calls I've had from other parts of the country is what blows my mind. I mean,
so the reach is there.
People are hearing about it
Yeah.
and they're saying, you know, North Carolina, there was a story on Spectrum about Dylan's house and it was in the Cleveland area, but they must have ran it in North Carolina and people thought we were coming there. And we had all these calls and then they said, okay, we will literally move if you're telling me you have a space for,
Oh,
and I'm thinking,
my goodness.
someone's going to uproot their life
Right.
and move to Youngstown, Ohio. And that's when Kevin and I knew, like, this is so much bigger. Like, we're starting in the Mahoning Valley, but this is huge.
The reach.
The reach is
That's unreal. So again, parents looking, it's what's going to happen after I'm gone. So that's
yeah,
the
that's
biggest
the
fear.
number one.
Yeah. How do you design these homes to ensure they're safe, right? While still, as we would say, you still want it to be an independent situation, right? So like, so for the residents, how do you, is there a special way you have to do it for safety? I mean,
No. So
No.
we
it's
pulled,
regular.
we have a housing committee and we pulled Jimmy Sutman on that housing committee because he runs so many of these homes he knows.
Yes.
And so what we have decided, so the original goal or plan was always to buy a home like we did for Dylan, buy those sort of homes, a small Cape Cod, fit 2 adults, maybe 3, do some modifications that it might need. But we've had the opportunity to build 2 homes, which we could talk about even later. But in designing those homes, we obviously have like one ADA accessible bedroom and bathroom.
Okay.
But other than that, we did not go really crazy. We figured when the individuals go to move in, if there's a special modification they need tailored to them, we can do it.
Yeah, you ask, they tell you.
Between like depending on
Because you
their
mentioned
level.
the windows.
Yes.
Like, is there a specification that they have to be locked, or is that a hazard?
That's a hazard.
Yeah, so you can't. So
No,
literally,
we can't. And like where
Okay.
Dylan lives, even
Yeah.
though Kevin and I own his home, we can't do that there. There's a human rights committee through Mahoning County, and that's not safe to Dylan.
No, I was
Yeah.
just going to point out. So I think people need to recognize that. So you're battling that stuff too. I mean, their own safety, but safety in general.
I mean, Kevin used to say, if there's a fire, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, great. But I have to keep Dylan alive like on the other days when there's not a fire. So I just kind of rolled the dice with that.
What a challenge. What a challenge. Again, my goodness. So, again, Dylan's house provides grants, right, to professional caregivers.
Yes.
So why was it important to you to include caregiver support as a core pillar of your charity alongside the housing and education?
So caregivers, I have the utmost respect for. I was a caregiver the whole time Dylan lived at home. Not only that, but I hired caregivers in my home.
But you lived it.
I lived it.
So you know what goes
And it's
into
hard.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Special
he's
people,
my
right?
son.
Special people. Amy.
Right. And like, who's going to love your son more than you? And I struggled. I mean, I'd go in the garage. Like, I'm not proud of this, but it's the truth. I would go in the garage and like scream.
Mm-hmm.
And
But you have to,
because I just couldn't
why?
take it.
You have to let something has to be released, or we bury it.
Right.
And then you're going to have health problems. You're going to have issues, right? So
It's
you
like
did that.
so much stress. So and I yelled at my daughter for things that she didn't even do or deserve because it's this high level of stress. So then to ask a caregiver that's making maybe $12 to $15 an hour, maybe more if they've been doing it longer, when they could work at Chipotle or Target, to take care of my son that's now almost 25. He is toilet trained, but there's plenty of accidents, and he might hit you, and he might lay down naked in the driveway when it's time to leave. And to ask somebody to do that is really tough job. So that's why there's a shortage of caregivers and why Kevin and I thought this has got to be one of the pillars of our mission.
It is. And so if you're doing that, right, caregivers, so you're supporting them, help support them, right?
Yes.
Is that what that,
Oh,
that's a
yes.
fair? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are. I
so
mean,
the dollars go to help support the caregivers.
so we
too.
give caregiver grants twice a year.
Okay.
And for now, we'd love to
Do people
increase
apply?
that. Yes.
Okay.
People apply.
Okay.
And the only requirement is that that's your job. You know, you're a caregiver caring for an individual with developmental disabilities, autism. And then we have formed a committee that we're not on that reviews all these applications. They remove like the name and the identifying information, and they read what the caregiver wrote, and they pick 10, and then we give them $500 each.
Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So, again, that's a big deal. So, do we want to pause? Okay, we're going to take a quick break.
Perfect.
Right back. So, let's talk projects, right?
Okay.
So, you recently broke ground on a new residential project in Boardman, correct?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, what will this specific home offer, and how does it serve as a model for future Dylan's House projects?
Okay, great. So we have 2 projects going on right now. The Boardman property is on land that was donated to us from Sam and Donna Boak.
Of course.
And
Are they not
they're
the most amazing community servants? Is that what we want to call it? Or outreach? I mean, they are, I got to tell you this, unbelievable people.
unbelievable people. You know, it took me like 6 months to get a meeting with them because they're busy. And we met at Kensington, and I was all pumped up to ask them to do a roof on the Struthers house, because the Struthers house we had already had in the works a little bit, but it hadn't been started. So I have my whole speech, and Sam listens. They both listen. They ask all these questions, and he's like, I think I can do one better than a roof. And I'm thinking, oh, what else can he do?
Right.
He said, you know what? I have some property in Boardman. Let's just build another house. I'll never forget. He goes, you need more than one, right?
I mean, that, again, come
right?
on, Sam.
I know.
He's awesome.
So he has been.
That's just unbelievable support.
We've become friends.
Yeah.
He has spearheaded Boardman. So that house is a duplex. It's beautiful. It looks like a big blue farmhouse. All our houses are going to be blue. Dylan's house where he lives is blue.
That's it. Is that his color?
Yes. He
Okay.
loves that.
All right.
So they're all going to be blue.
So there's a story.
So there's a big farmhouse look that's a duplex, but we want it to look like a welcoming home. So that has 4 bedrooms on each side. So that location will house up to 8 adults. So that we, financing, I've had to learn this whole new
Well, that was one of my
career.
It's funny because I was getting there at some point, and I will. So, but go ahead. You have to go. I mean,
So financing, it's been a lot, and even building. So there's more red tape than you realize, but we should be able to start digging on that. We actually have a big meeting later today with the builder, and the HBA has really rallied on that Boardman project.
Great.
The donations have been amazing.
That's unreal.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So, so how can local communities better integrate and welcome residents with autism, right? Because this is
Yes.
it, so that they feel like perfect neighbors, as you've described, Dylan. Like, so, right? Because this is you have to integrate this into the community.
You do.
Not to say you have to sell them, but you certainly got to give them peace of mind, right?
Right.
So let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
how does it go?
So it's very important to Kevin and I that these homes are, we like to say, sprinkled all through the Mahoning Valley. Like we personally do not believe in, this is the autism cul-de-sac over here. They've got to be they're amazing individuals. They're amazing neighbors. I was a little worried when we bought the home Dylan lives in, and those neighbors are the kindest people. They love my son. I mean, first of all, he's kind of a perfect neighbor. He goes to bed at like 8, never has anybody over.
Right.
I mean, they're like us. They go
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah.
They like to go like bowling on a Tuesday night. They maybe go to dinner, and they're just great, typical people. So
not much of a community sell then, right? I mean, so these communities, if they're listening, right, should understand that it's not going to be an interruption.
it's nothing to fear.
Right.
And I understand, you don't want to, you think, oh, I don't want a group home in my neighborhood. And it's not a group home at all. It's like if an elderly woman needs caregiver support.
Upgrades, right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
that's just, maybe two adult men living together as roommates, just enjoying life. I mean, Struthers, let me say for a minute, where our house looks like a house. It's a 3-bedroom ranch. It's under roof now. Struthers has been so welcoming. That's on a really cute residential street.
Yep.
And I didn't know what they would think.
It's interesting. Let's give credit to more people, more, as we would say. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think we may jump to that. How are people going to respond? But for the most part, our community is pretty awesome. Because again, now remember this, your message is getting out there loud and clear, because if somebody's questioning, Amy, there's enough information for people to go see what's actually going on. Why? Right. And I think when people do, what are you going to worry about? Right. I think, and then they're like, I welcome this. I mean, we're doing, our community, our area, our neighborhood is doing something good. It's doing something good for somebody. And I think we cannot let that go, because I think it doesn't surprise me. Let's say that.
And they really should. I mean, the messages I've received from the neighbors, we are so excited. We can't, two things. They're getting a beautiful home on a vacant lot where there was a fire. So now there's going to be a home that we will keep impeccable. And they're getting...
That's the other thing, right?
Right. We're improving these communities.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, it just looks better. It's helping everybody's resale. And you're going to get the best individuals in the world with the kindest heart as your neighbor. What more do you want?
Yep. Say that, right? So, all right, let's talk about 5 years, right? So where do you see Dylan's house in 5 years? Are there plans to expand again beyond the Mahoning Valley? Because we sort of touched on it. So
yes.
Do you have a vision? Do you have a 5-year vision?
We do.
Okay.
So, we don't have a number of how many houses we will have by then, but we know that we will not only be just in Mahoning, but Trumbull and Columbiana. And I feel like once we really get that under wraps, then we will explore some of these opportunities. We've had parents in Florida, in other states say, hey, could you help us maybe start a sleeve of Dylan's house? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of a big goal. And then our educational piece is huge. So that's kind of our third.
Education is key, right?
Yes. We need to have resources for these parents.
And how does that go?
So I formed an education committee, and I pulled in some of the rock stars of Mahoning County, Shelley Murray from Goodwill, Mike Latessa from the Rich Center. We have potential development on this. We have Bill Whitaker, who's the superintendent of the Board of DD, and then we have a parent, and then me and my daughter. And we have been working hard, and we're going to be rolling out a library of videos so that when a parent calls me in tears, so upset, and they don't know how to do A, B, or C, instead of me just talking them through it, I have a video with a subject matter expert that I can send to them that'll be on our website. So we're really working hard, and we're going to collaborate a lot on that education piece.
I think that's big. Education, at sometimes, we know the physical aspect of things, right? The creation of the house, that's great. We need caregiver. We understand. But how many people are going through that just need lead? That just, here's how you handle this, or here's how you can handle. And I think that's going to be really big, right? That reach will probably go even farther. I think you're going to impact so many more people.
That's why we're really trying hard with that.
I'm big behind that. So
thank
I
you.
think that's fantastic. All right, let's talk about, you and I, right? So a little bit financial advisors, it's kind of funny because people always say, how are you guys friends, right? Come on. Right? I laugh.
On.
I was like, come on. What the
on.
Heck? So here you are, right? 27 years as experience, right? As a financial advisor. So how has your background, right? So again, with things we go through, and you started touching on that because of what you've had to learn, right? So how's that helped you kind of navigate the complexities of running a 501c3? It's different.
It's so different. I never, and even
regulation, right? Everything. You've had to really learn. So your experience, did it guide you there? Like, okay, I did. I leaned on what I know somewhat, or is it all a starter?
I think that the main thing that helped me, and I try to be like this too as a professional, is that I don't know everything, and I have to find the people that do.
That's right.
You have to find the people you do.
Boom Boom, said the other day, he's like, you start to learn, what you know, and you know what you don't know. And then you hire the people around you, or you seek counsel for what you don't know. Be honest, be upfront about it. right?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got a great attorney. They did the 501c3. Kevin and I made a hit list back, 3 years ago of who we thought would be good on the board. And, that's evolved too. We have some of the original board members that are fantastic. And then we've added because, again, we didn't know what we know now.
Of course.
And so it's an ever evolving thing. And we've really had to learn a lot.
I mean, do you see this really continue to going as your passion, Amy? I mean, let's always say this, we start changing our paths as we're getting older, right?
Right.
And we'll always stay involved in with our clients and all that, but is there a mission that you want to make this a greater transition for yourself at some point? Is that a fair question?
It's definitely a fair question. We, and originally it's time, but originally we thought this would be Kevin's kind of like retirement. He'll retire before I do. And so we thought maybe this would be kind of his thing, like originally. But actually, we're going to be hiring an executive director this year, which is really exciting. Because Kevin and I want to be the founders and the face and tell the story, but we can't.
Day to day.
We can't do it.
I get it.
I mean, I have to take care of Dylan.
I get it.
And my clients. And so Dylan's house is like my favorite thing to talk about, and I always will. But it would be great to have someone kind of running the ship.
Get it.
And they just pull me in. So that's the plan right now.
I got it. That's awesome.
You never know.
Well, I mean, I guess my point is, it's become such a passion of continuing to be the face, meaning, as your time gets a little more free, right? I'm saying it becoming a focus of like, I'll continue to send the message as much as I want to. That's something, again, for me, what I believe in is I'll never walk away. There's going to be no reason. I'm too young, right? I have family involved, but, one of my passions is creating more time to be more involved in the community, more time teaching, educating. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, these are your opportunities to continue to broaden that message and, educate, right?
And I think being an independent advisor versus when I worked at the bank, which I grew up in the bank, I'm so thankful for everything I learned and all the clients. But, you have to be respectful of the bank. So you're working those hours. And being an independent advisor, being a business owner, we work more because we work all the time.
People don't understand that.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
You're always working. Always. But I do have the time that I can fit in for Dylan's house.
Time management, right? Yeah. I mean, again, any good business owner knows they can manage their time, right? We could fit anything in.
Yes.
So you've mentioned that being, just mom, right? Again, has just made such a huge difference for yourself, right? How has the nonprofit allowed you to reclaim, and I think this is really important, that role while still advocating, being an advocate in our community? So, I mean, I think that's like what I've heard. You want to be just mom.
I do. I mean, I want to be able to go over to Dylan's and take him to Burger King and then come back and sit at the table while he eats. And, moms, I'm always cleaning up his house.
It's okay.
I shouldn't, but
no,
straightening it up. But I don't.
I have one.
Right? See, they're messy.
Well, my wife, I always call her the enabler, but in a good way.
That's what we do.
She's mom.
That's what we do. So I want to be mom. I don't want, not that but showering for his dignity. Your mom giving you a shower when you're a 25-year-old man, your mom, helping you out in the bathroom. That's what the caregivers can do.
Right.
That's their job. I help. I'm very respectful, but I want to be mom. I want to take him places. I have promised myself that I will get him out in the community, that I will practice what I preach. And it's hard because unfortunately people are good, but some people are always going to stare. They're going to shake their head at you.
By the way, that's their problem.
I know.
So always remember that. That's their problem. If somebody can't be kind, please don't acknowledge, just be kind.
I know.
I really have a difficult time with that. But again, you can't let that negativity of one or two moments of people, we have to accept that's just who people are.
I know.
But I would say the bulk of people are kind and understand. But that's why I want listeners to understand, you're struggling being a mom. I mean, I think, if you're a mother. I mean, this is something you have to like transition in the reality of what you're witnessing and doing. And I think people need to realize how difficult this has been and is, but you're still mom. And, you're understanding what other people are going through. And, that, again, is so commendable. But the simple fact is you're never going to stop being mom.
I know. And one thing I really, really struggle with, being honest, is and I told my friend this yesterday, I don't go down this path of, Dylan will never have a girlfriend or a wife. Obviously he won't have children. He, all these things that when you have kids, you really hope for. And I can't go down that path because we all just want our kids to be happy and loved. And I'm so happy for other people, but he used to stand and look out the window and watch all these boys walk to Canfield High School. And my husband's like, he's fine. And I said, but you don't know what he's thinking. We don't know.
You can't.
And so that's kind of what kills me. Anderson has a boyfriend. I hope that, she gets married and has kids and has this beautiful life. And that's what kills me and keeps me up at night is I'm his, your son shouldn't only be able to love his mom and his sister and his brother, but his sister and his dad. But I don't go down that path very often because you can't.
You can't.
So that's the hardest part of being a mom. And we're only
but
as happy.
He loves you.
Yes.
And you love him.
He loves his mom. He's always will my mom come today?
Matters. That's what matters, Amy. I hope us are listening to this difficult path. So let's do really. We're gonna do some rapid fires. Okay?
Sure.
I'll do 5.
Okay.
And just quick. But this stays in line with what we're doing. So, what is the one word you hope every resident feels when they walk through the front door of a Dylan's house property?
Welcomed.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yep, that's just powerful. Stay with that one word, right? That's awesome. So what is a common myth about adults living with autism that you'd love to debunk, right now? What would you?
Just that they are, difficult people and that they don't understand. They're just like us. They want the same things we want. They just can't communicate it. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes it, right, really, people have to realize they're people.
Right.
Okay? And doesn't that sound ugly? But it's the truth. Why are we deciphering? They're people.
I know.
They feel.
All the feelings.
I know. I don't understand it either. I don't think people can get it. All right. If you could go back to the day you first started this charity and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Everything does not have to happen instantly and right now. That's a struggle just of mine in general.
Well,
but
me too.
Right?
Immediate, right? But
Immediate.
we have to be patient and realize that you're working towards, right? And
yes.
It takes time to get it perfect.
It does.
Yep. Beyond Dylan himself, what is your biggest inspiration in the world of advocacy? It's a tough one there.
That is a tough one. I just think seeing all of his friends that are at the workshops, I've spent a lot of time there, and Dylan has a roommate now, and Dylan's roommate's high functioning, and getting to know him and see him be excited over handles, or he loves George Strait. It's just been,
I love that.
It's amazing.
But I love that.
Oh, Dylan's roommate. They could have a reality show, the two of them.
Oh,
they're funny.
But doesn't that make it so common? It's so cute because there's this relationship in this thing. I love that.
Yes.
So what is the best way for someone listening right now, whether they have $5 or 5 hours, to help your mission today?
I think that if you go to our website, which is just dylanshouse.org, you could look on there, and we will take, we're going to need volunteers when these houses are done for, landscaping and putting the yard in and getting the houses, ready to have individuals move in. If you're a subcontractor and maybe you don't want to donate, money, but you have some time.
Time, talent, treasure.
Exactly. Anything. We have, with all these homes that we need to build, obviously we love donations and sponsorships because they go right to the mission.
I was going to ask. Okay.
But being able to have individuals just help us. We've had so many people reach out.
I love it.
Yes.
And so listeners, right, my clients, you hear us talk about time, talent, treasure. For those of you, I hope that you'll strongly listen to this because, again, there's a lot of opportunity to support this wonderful mission. So we kind of talk about, I'll kind of pivot about involvement again a minute, because I know there's something that you share, Sunday Fun Day. So I'll let you kind of go there, because again,
Sure.
we're supporters of it. So, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. So your transition again from case manager back to mom, such a powerful reminder of why this work absolutely matters. And again, I want people to hear this. It's about returning dignity and peace of mind to your entire family. For everyone listening, Amy's work at Dylan's house is a blueprint for what is possible when we refuse to accept the status quo. God bless you. If you want to see the incredible homes they're building or learn more about the Caregiver Grant Program, head over to Dylan's House. It's DYLANSHOUSE.org, one word. And so that's what we believe in. So why don't we, when we talk about involvement real quick before I'll close here, give us what this Sunday Fun Day is and what and when it is and how people can do this.
All the fun details.
Yes.
So April 19th from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Penguin City in Youngstown. And they're amazing. They donate their space. We'd have one fundraiser a year, and we really try to keep it as one fundraiser and keep the cost down so that we can net all that money back to the mission. So we have RDNA, which is fan favorite band.
Of course.
Food trucks, specialty drinks.
Yep, I was there.
I mean, what more could you want? You guys were there.
Yeah.
And we love, Mediate Financial has just been from the get-go, like, how can we help? And we'd love to see you at Sunday Fun Day. Tickets are $30. Us and 500 of our closest friends will be there.
There you go. That's awesome. All right. So, again, before, we go, I have 3 small tasks for everybody to help support this mission. So I'm going to put it out. First, let's get involved, right? Whether it's a one-time donation, signing up for their newsletter. You have a newsletter, right? Mm-hmm. Your support helps Dylan's house scale this model, again, for more families in need. So please. Second, share this episode. If you know a parent, a caregiver, or a local leader who needs to hear this message of hope, please send this their way. And third, always, you can connect with us. Tag us on social media. Let us know your biggest takeaway from today's conversation. Obviously, again, we'll help get everybody in touch, volunteers, all you guys listening to our fourth bucket, right? All of our clients, all of our supporters, you know what it means. This is a big cause, and I'd love to see everybody help, because we will be as well. So, Amy, thank you for your heart, your expertise, and for building a better future for Dylan and again, for so many others. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. So, Amy, again, thank you for taking this time today. Again, I think everybody needed to hear this, okay?
Thank you so much.
So, all right, everyone, we'll talk to you guys next episode. Thank you. Thanks for listening.